Captain Heian stood motionless on the bridge of the United Earth defense vessel, her dark eyes fixed on the massive holographic display. The starship's interior hummed with a quiet intensity, sophisticated technology pulsing beneath smooth metallic surfaces. Outside the reinforced viewports, the endless darkness of space stretched infinitely, punctuated by distant pinpoints of starlight. The Galactic Imperial battlecruiser materialized on the long-range scanners, its massive silhouette moving with calculated precision through the sector. Heian recognized the design immediately, a standard Imperial conquest vessel, configured for rapid territorial expansion and overwhelming military presence. Her first officer, Jaiwan, monitored the quantum tracking systems with an almost mechanical focus. His fingers danced across holographic interfaces, collecting and analyzing data streams that would have been incomprehensible to untrained personnel. Every micro-movement, every subtle energy signature was being recorded and processed in real time. The Imperial vessel moved closer, apparently unaware that its approach was not just observed, but entirely anticipated. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades, studying alien technological patterns, developing counter-strategies, and building a defense network that was more than just a protective shield. It was a sophisticated predatory system. Heian's training at the Advanced Interstellar Tactical Academy had prepared her for moments like these. She had studied hundreds of potential alien encounter scenarios, simulated countless strategic responses, and developed a reputation for calm, calculated decision-making. Her team was hand-picked, each member a specialist in their domain, each mind working in perfect synchronization. The bridge crew remained silent, their professionalism a testament to years of rigorous training. No unnecessary chatter, no visible tension, just pure, focused concentration. They were humanity's first line of defense, and they knew the weight of their responsibility. Jaiwan's voice broke the silence. Imperial vessel approaching. Configuration matches previous reconnaissance reports. No deviation from expected trajectory. Heian nodded, her expression unchanged. The Imperial battlecruiser was now close enough to detect with standard sensors, its massive hull reflecting minimal light, designed for stealth and intimidation. But stealth meant little against humanity's advanced detection technologies. The ship's artificial intelligence system, nicknamed ARIA, began running predictive models. Potential conflict scenarios, diplomatic interaction probabilities, and defensive strategies were calculated and recalculated within milliseconds. ARIA was more than a computer, it was a strategic partner, designed to think beyond traditional computational limitations. "Prepare initial communication protocols," Heian said quietly. Her command was not a request, but a precise instruction that would trigger a complex series of technological preparations. The Imperial vessel continued its approach, seemingly unaware of the intricate defensive network now fully activated around it. Quantum-entangled weapon systems came online silently, creating an invisible net of potential destruction. Orbital defense platforms, strategically positioned in multiple star systems, adjusted their targeting systems. Heian knew this encounter was more than a potential military engagement. It was a statement, a demonstration of humanity's technological evolution and strategic preparedness. The Galactic Empire had spent centuries conquering civilizations, absorbing their resources, and expanding their territorial control. Today, they would encounter a species fundamentally different from their previous conquests. The bridge crew exchanged no glances, no subtle signals. Each member was a precision instrument, ready to execute their role with mathematical accuracy. Years of training, psychological conditioning, and technological integration had transformed them into something more than traditional military personnel. As the Imperial battlecruiser continued its approach, the tension was palpable, not as fear, but as a concentrated energy of preparation and potential. Humanity was about to send a message that would resonate through galactic corridors of power. Captain Heian allowed herself the briefest moment of reflection. Decades of human technological development, countless sacrifices, and an unwavering commitment to survival had led to this moment. Whatever happened next would be a turning point in humanity's interstellar history. Jaiwan activated the advanced communication array with a precise sequence of finger movements. Holographic interfaces flickered to life, displaying complex communication protocols designed specifically for first contact scenarios with potentially hostile alien civilizations. The transmission system was unlike anything the Galactic Imperial forces had encountered before. It wasn't just a simple communication channel, it was a carefully constructed message that combined linguistic algorithms, mathematical precision, and subtle psychological warfare techniques. Captain Heian stood motionless, her hands clasped behind her back. Her posture suggested absolute calm, but her eyes revealed a deep concentration. Every second of this communication would be crucial. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this exact moment, a first encounter that could determine the future of their species. The initial transmission began as a series of mathematical sequences, prime numbers, complex quantum equations, and geometric patterns that would demonstrate technological sophistication. These were not just random signals, but a deliberate communication strategy designed to establish intellectual credibility. Jaiwan monitored the transmission's progress, his fingers dancing across multiple holographic interfaces. The communication system was sending multiple layers of information simultaneously: linguistic data, technological capabilities, and subtle hints of defensive preparedness. On the Imperial battlecruiser, communication officers were initially confused. The transmission didn't follow any standard first contact protocols they had encountered in centuries of galactic exploration. It was methodical, precise, and carried an underlying message of confidence that was almost unprecedented. The linguistic component of the transmission was equally complex. Using advanced translation algorithms, the message was constructed to be simultaneously comprehensible and strategically ambiguous. Each word was chosen with mathematical precision, carrying multiple potential interpretations that would challenge the Imperial linguistic processing systems. "Initiate secondary communication protocol," Heian said quietly. Her voice was calm, almost emotionless, but carried an unmistakable tone of authority. Jaiwan understood immediately. The secondary protocol would reveal carefully selected information about human technological capabilities, not as a direct threat, but as a strategic demonstration of preparedness. Detailed schematics of defensive technologies, glimpses of quantum communication networks, and subtle hints of advanced weaponry began to stream through the communication channel. The Imperial communication officers would soon realize this was no ordinary first contact scenario. Humanity was not presenting itself as a potential conquest, but as a calculated, technologically advanced civilization that was fully aware of its own capabilities. In the background, Arya, the ship's artificial intelligence, continued processing and analyzing potential response scenarios. Millions of potential communication outcomes were being evaluated in real time, each potential Imperial response mapped in counter strategies developed within microseconds. The transmission carried an underlying message that was both diplomatic and intimidating. It wasn't a direct threat, but a clear demonstration that any potential conflict would come at a significant cost to the Galactic Empire. Each data packet was a carefully constructed piece of a larger strategic puzzle. Heian observed the communication progress with a detached professionalism. Years of training had prepared her for this moment, a delicate balance between diplomatic engagement and strategic deterrence. The human approach was clear: demonstrate capabilities, show preparedness, but leave room for potential diplomatic resolution. The communication continued, layer upon layer of information revealing humanity's technological sophistication. Star charts showing human-controlled territories, glimpses of advanced propulsion technologies, and subtle references to defensive capabilities painted a clear picture. Jaiwan noted the Imperial communication systems struggling to process the complex transmission. Traditional Imperial first contact protocols were being systematically challenged and dismantled by the human communication strategy. As the transmission progressed, it became clear that this was more than just a communication, it was a carefully orchestrated message about humanity's place in the galactic ecosystem. Not a plea for mercy, not a request for acceptance, but a declaration of technological and strategic equality. The bridge crew remained focused, each member understanding their critical role in this historic moment. Humanity was about to introduce itself to the galaxy not as a potential conquest, but as a force to be respected. The transmission from the human vessel began revealing intricate details that sent immediate shockwaves through the Imperial communication networks. Each data packet was a precise surgical strike of information, exposing vulnerabilities in Imperial battle strategies with mathematical precision. ARIA, the advanced artificial intelligence system, started projecting holographic representations of Imperial technological weaknesses. Complex diagrams showed exact points of potential system failures in the battlecruiser's defensive networks. The revelations were not just theoretical, they were supported by incredibly detailed technical schematics that suggested deep, almost impossible levels of intelligence gathering. Jaiwan watched the Imperial communication channels freeze momentarily. Their standard encryption protocols were being systematically dismantled, revealing layers of information they believed were completely secure. The human transmission was not just breaking through, it was demonstrating a level of technological sophistication that challenged everything the Galactic Empire understood about technological superiority. Captain Heian remained perfectly calm. Her eyes tracked the transmission's progress, each second revealing another layer of strategic information. The message was clear: humanity was not just another species to be conquered. They were a calculated, technologically advanced civilization that understood the complex mathematics of galactic conflict. The transmission detailed specific Imperial battle tactics used in previous conquests. Star systems that had fallen, technological approaches that had been repeatedly successful, all were laid bare with clinical precision. It was as if humanity had spent decades studying every single Imperial military engagement, understanding their strategies at a level that surpassed the Empire's own comprehension. Quantum encrypted data streams began revealing predictive models. These were not simple projections, but comprehensive scenarios that mapped potential conflict outcomes with terrifying accuracy. Each scenario showed multiple human strategic responses, each more sophisticated than traditional military thinking. The Imperial communication officers watched in growing disbelief. Their secure networks were being analyzed in real time, vulnerabilities exposed without any apparent technological invasion. The human transmission was a pure information assault, destroying confidence through knowledge rather than physical force. Technological schematics showed advanced human defense systems that seemed to defy current understanding of physics. Quantum entangled weapon platforms, capable of simultaneous targeting across multiple star systems. Energy absorption technologies that could neutralize standard Imperial weapon systems. Defensive networks that could predict and counteract attack strategies before they were even implemented. ARIA continued processing, each microsecond revealing more complex layers of strategic information. The transmission was becoming a comprehensive intelligence briefing that stripped away the Galactic Empire's perceived technological superiority. Jaiwan noted the increasing complexity of the transmission. What had started as a communication was now a full technological demonstration, a warning wrapped in pure, clinical information. Each data packet was mathematically constructed to maximize psychological impact. The human message contained an unspoken challenge: understand our capabilities, or face the consequences of underestimating us. It was a diplomatic communication that functioned more like a precise military briefing, revealing capabilities without making direct threats. Imperial communication protocols began to break down. Their standard response systems were designed for species that would either submit or fight traditionally. Humanity was presenting a third option, a calculated, information-based resistance that challenged the very foundations of Imperial military thinking. Captain Heian allowed herself the smallest hint of satisfaction. Years of preparation, decades of technological development, were being demonstrated in this single transmission. Humanity was showing its true potential, not as a reactive species, but as a proactive, strategically intelligent civilization. The transmission continued, each second revealing more layers of technological sophistication. Star charts, defensive capabilities, predictive conflict models. All were being presented with a clinical precision that was both terrifying and fascinating. In those moments, the Galactic Empire was learning a critical lesson: humanity was not just another species to be conquered. They were a technological force that had been preparing for this encounter with a level of strategic thinking that fundamentally challenged existing galactic power structures. The technological demonstration was complete. The message was sent. Now, the Imperial forces would have to respond. The orbital defense platforms awakened with a silent, deadly precision. Quantum entangled weapon systems created an invisible network of potential destruction that surrounded the Imperial battlecruiser. Each platform was a technological marvel, capable of targeting multiple systems simultaneously with impossible accuracy. Captain Heian watched the holographic displays, her expression unchanging. The strategic positioning was perfect, not an aggressive move, but a calculated demonstration of defensive capabilities. Every human defense system was now fully operational, creating a technological shield that seemed to defy conventional understanding of space warfare. Jaiwan monitored the Imperial vessel's movements. The battlecruiser had stopped its approach, its massive hull now seemingly frozen in space. The human transmission and technological demonstration had created a moment of absolute uncertainty, something the Galactic Empire was not accustomed to experiencing. Arya, the ship's artificial intelligence, began running millions of potential scenarios per second. Each potential Imperial response was analyzed, mapped, and countered before it could even be considered. The AI was not just a computer system, it was a strategic partner that understood the complex mathematics of conflict prevention. Imperial communication channels remained silent. The sophisticated transmission they had received had effectively paralyzed their standard decision-making protocols. Humanity had presented a challenge that went beyond traditional military thinking, a pure information-based strategy that neutralized potential conflict through knowledge. The quantum tracking system showed every minute movement of the Imperial battlecruiser. Its defensive shields, once considered impenetrable, now seemed vulnerable. The human transmission had revealed exact technical specifications that could potentially disable the entire vessel within moments. Captain Heian understood the psychological warfare at play. This was not about destroying the Imperial vessel, it was about demonstrating the potential to do so. Each passing second increased the psychological pressure, forcing the Imperial leadership to reconsider their traditional approach to territorial expansion. Orbital platforms adjusted their positioning subtly. To the untrained eye, they appeared motionless. But each platform was a sophisticated weapon system capable of responding to potential threats with millisecond precision. The human defensive network was a living, breathing technological organism. Jaiwan noted the increasing tension on the communication channels. Imperial Command was clearly struggling to process the unprecedented situation. Humanity had presented itself not as a potential conquest, but as a civilization that could neutralize threats through pure technological superiority. The standoff continued. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours, each second loaded with potential conflict and strategic uncertainty. The human vessel remained calm, its defensive systems a silent reminder of technological sophistication that challenged existing galactic power structures. Arya continued its constant analysis. Predictive models showed multiple potential scenarios, each mapped with mathematical precision. The AI was not just preparing for conflict, it was actively working to prevent it through comprehensive strategic planning. The Imperial battlecruiser's energy signatures began to fluctuate. Their standard communication and navigation systems were being subtly disrupted by the human technological demonstration. It was a gentle reminder of humanity's capabilities, not a direct attack, but a clear show of technological dominance. Captain Heian's hand moved slightly, a subtle signal to Jaiwan. The communication systems remained open, but the message was clear. Humanity was prepared, confident, and absolutely unwilling to be treated as a passive species in the galactic ecosystem. The quantum-entangled weapon systems continued their silent vigil. Each platform was positioned with mathematical precision, creating a defensive network that seemed to defy traditional understanding of space warfare. The Imperial vessel was effectively surrounded, not through aggressive positioning, but through pure technological superiority. As the standoff continued, it became increasingly clear that this was more than a potential conflict. It was a fundamental challenge to the Galactic Empire's understanding of technological superiority and territorial expansion. Humanity had sent its message. Now, the Imperial forces would have to respond. The silence was deafening. Imperial communication channels remained frozen, unable to process the comprehensive technological demonstration they had just witnessed. Captain Heian watched the holographic displays, her posture revealing nothing of the intense strategic calculation happening beneath her calm exterior. Jiwan's fingers moved across the quantum communication interfaces, tracking every microscopic change in the Imperial battlecruiser's systems. The vessel seemed suspended in space, a massive metal object suddenly rendered obsolete by pure information warfare. Reports began streaming in from deep space monitoring stations. Other Imperial fleet commanders were receiving compressed data packets detailing humanity's technological capabilities. It wasn't just a warning to this single battlecruiser, it was a galactic-wide message about humanity's strategic preparedness. Aria, the ship's artificial intelligence, continued processing millions of potential scenarios. Each moment brought new analytical insights, mapping potential Imperial responses with mathematical precision. The AI had transformed the encounter from a potential conflict into a comprehensive strategic demonstration. The quantum-entangled weapon platforms remained active, their positioning a silent reminder of humanity's defensive capabilities. They were not aggressive weapons, but a technological shield that could neutralize threats before they could even be considered. Imperial communication protocols began to crack. Their standard first contact strategies, developed over centuries of galactic conquests, were completely ineffective against humanity's approach. This was not a species that would submit or be easily conquered. Captain Heian allowed herself the smallest hint of a smile. Years of preparation, decades of technological development, had culminated in this moment. Humanity was sending a clear message to the galactic community: we are not a passive civilization to be controlled. Jiwan noted the increasing data traffic across galactic communication networks. The transmission was spreading, each alien civilization receiving glimpses of humanity's technological sophistication. It was more than a warning, it was a declaration of technological independence. The Imperial battlecruiser's energy signatures began to destabilize. Their advanced systems were being subtly disrupted by the human technological demonstration. It was a gentle but firm reminder of the power contained within human technological capabilities. Aria continued its constant analysis, mapping potential long-term strategic outcomes. Each scenario revealed the same conclusion: humanity had fundamentally changed the galactic power dynamics with a single, precise communication. Orbital monitoring stations across human-controlled territories remained on high alert. This was not just a single encounter, but a potential turning point in galactic relations. Every system was prepared, every defensive network activated, waiting for potential Imperial responses. The transmission had revealed more than technological capabilities. It had demonstrated humanity's understanding of complex strategic thinking, psychological warfare, and technological innovation. The Galactic Empire was facing a civilization that refused to be categorized or controlled. Jiwan's communication systems continued tracking the Imperial vessel's minimal responses. Their standard decision-making protocols were completely overwhelmed by the comprehensive information assault they had received. Captain Heian understood the deeper implications of this encounter. It was not about defeating the Imperial battlecruiser, but about establishing a new paradigm of galactic interactions. Humanity was presenting itself as an equal, not a potential conquest. The quantum tracking systems continued their silent monitoring. Each passing moment increased the psychological pressure on the Imperial command structure. They were being forced to reconsider their entire approach to territorial expansion and first contact scenarios. As the standoff continued, it became clear that this was more than a potential conflict. It was a fundamental challenge to existing galactic power structures. Humanity had demonstrated that technological superiority was not just about weapons, but about comprehensive strategic thinking. The warning had been issued. The message was clear. And the galaxy would never be the same again.